Hey everyone, welcome back. David in History for the Ages here. So, this is a topic I've been talking about for over 25 years with my students. It is this nonsense of when people compare political figures or anybody they don't like to Hitler and Nazis, and it is dangerous for a number of reasons, right? I happen to be recording this after the attempted assassination on former President Trump. But this is, again, something I've been talking about for a long time, and I am going to kind of connect all this as well. But the first reason is it diminishes the Holocaust itself. Why? Well, obviously, most educated people know what Hitler did, right? They know that Hitler rounded up millions of people, 6 million Jews, millions of people who were not Jews, people who were Poles and Slavs, disabled, people from the homosexual community, rounded them up for no reason other than their background and who they were, not because they did anything wrong or broke a law or did anything illegal, and murdered them. 6 million, put them in gas chambers, experimented on them, right? So when you say person X, Y, or Z is like Hitler, what does that mean? If somebody knows, hey, this individual has not done these things, right? But I'm comparing him to Hitler, then it diminishes the things that Hitler did. And to me, this is the number one focus that I've been talking about the longest when I talk to my students. Literally, when I start my World War II lecture, I'm like, look, if you compare everyone to Hitler, then it stops having any meaning to it. And so this is one reason that I emphasize right off. The other issue that is more prevalent that I've been talking about more lately is it creates distrust in our elections. And you go, well, why is that? Think about this very simply and logically. If I think, and let's just use Trump as an example because this is the one that most people have used, but I've heard this all the way back to when you had the Bush Gore election and people were comparing former President Bush to Hitler. And I also want to be clear, this is an issue that does not excuse in any way the words that President Trump has used in the past. His rhetoric has been over the top. I think many times he has said things that have been causing harm to our society. I do not like the rhetoric that he often does. However, having bad rhetoric does not make you Hitler. And if you compare President Trump to Hitler, then you have to think about this logically. If I know that, and I believe that this man is Hitler, would I not cheat to keep him out of power? I mean, think about it. If I know somebody's going to come in and murder millions of people, personally, yeah, you don't think people would cheat to keep him out of power? And if you wouldn't cheat to keep somebody out of power who's going to murder 6 million people, then there's something wrong with you. I mean, you wouldn't lie, cheat, steal to keep the next Hitler out of power? So if you repeat that rhetoric, then when there's an election, especially a close election, people are going to question you, hey, did you cheat? Was there, any shenanigans? Even if there wasn't, it opens the door to that. So that's a reason I think people need to stop making that comparison. A third one, pretty obvious, it creates more riots and unrest. If again you think someone is like Hitler, then of course it's going to be quote unquote in your mind justified to go out in the streets and burn and pillage and attack people who support this person you think is like Hitler. So it makes your neighbor your enemy, because if your neighbor has a political figure supporting a political figure that you in your mind think are Hitler. And look, I have seen most of this come from the left against the right, but look, I've seen images of people comparing Biden to Hitler. I think that's absurd as well. It honestly, for honest, it doesn't happen nearly as much, but you can go on the internet, you can Google memes of, Hitler and Biden and Hitler and Trump, and a gazillion things pop up. And so it's a problem no matter who's doing this. You could disagree with somebody's politics and not at the same time just throw out this word. And so I think that's a problem as well. It really is also just lazy. It shows the laziness. I didn't even put this in my list here, but it shows the laziness of critical thinking, because it's just so much easier to throw out that word than to actually think, well, okay, why is this policy good? Why is this policy not good? Or whatever. A fourth thing is it creates false information. Why does it create false information? Well, again, the classic example of this is that if I believe someone is Hitler, I'm assuming so many people have heard this, it's come up on debates, that means when you get this one line that you hear a lot, that Trump says there are quote unquote fine Nazis. I've seen that so many times. The problem is he never said they were fine Nazis or fine people on both sides referring to Nazis. If anybody actually takes the time to read the entire transcript of everything he said, and again, his rhetoric has been over the top more than once, right? He never said there were good Nazis. He talked about other individuals at that Charlottesville's rally he was referring to who were against the tearing down of the Robert E. Lee sculptures. He did not say they were fine Nazis, and you have to read it carefully. And this is when historians read primary sources, they don't just take a little excerpt. The whole idea is to read the whole thing, and people don't do that. And then finally, so it creates false information, because if you believe this, then of course he says this about people, and it's not true. And then finally, another reason, it just destroys language. We don't do just this with the word Hitler. We do it with the word Nazi. We do it with the word racism. We do it with so many words. If everything is racist, then nothing is racist, right? I'm Jewish, but I don't like the word anti-Semitism being thrown around every time somebody, I use this as an example. Somebody being critical of Israel. Are they anti-Semitic? No. Right? And if you say that, then it diminishes the word anti-Semitism. Now, if they believe Israel needs to be wiped off the map, yeah, that's a different situation. But it just diminishes language when you just throw it around. And it goes back to this kind of whole idea of it being laziness. So I really urge people just to stop making this comparison unless it's really apt, right? Hitler literally went around saying, I want to kill all these people, right? And he said it before, he said it during, it was so clear. Are there Nazi and Hitler-like people in the world? Yes. And so that's the other thing. If you use it, then it's Chicken Little, not Chicken Little. What's I don't know what the Boy Cried Wolf. It's the Boy Cried Wolf situation. If you use it so much, then when the real Hitlers come around, no one's going to believe you anymore. When the real racists come around, no one's going to believe you anymore because you've diminished the language so much. So I think that's even another kind of factor there. So I hope you kind of think about all this. It's just kind of a one-off topic that I wanted to make. If you want to just learn more history, I got a ton of stuff. Watch my lectures, actually learn history. I think that's a big part of this. I appreciate you watching this, and please share this with others and leave your thoughts on here. I mean, we've got to do better. It's going to just destroy us all. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Hope anybody thought some of it was interesting. Everyone have a good day. Thank you for watching.